Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary STROOPE Family Foundation, Panama-Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
I'm Marylou.
And in studio with us we have Kassidy. And Kassidy, if somebody wanted to get a hold of us at Do the Math, what would they need to do?
For math homework help, call in Bakersfield 636-4357, toll free 1-866-636-6284. Email dothemath@kern.org or online at dothemathonline.net. And on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
All right, nicely done. A lot of ways to get a hold of us, aren't there?
Yeah.
Do you have that many ways to get a hold of you?
Not.
You probably have like an email and a phone number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have all that social media stuff?
No, I have YouTube.
Oh, there you go. Well, you're part of the generation that has all that. How is school going? First of all, where do you go to school and what grade are you in?
I go to school at Stockdale Elementary, and I'm in 4th grade.
And how is 4th grade so far?
Good.
Okay. Well, what's good about it? Because it is different this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think, so you said that school's going along pretty well right now, right?
Huh?
What is, you think, the best thing about this school year, even though it's a little different?
Well, I think it's good because, well, it's not that good, but I like it better when we're at school.
I think everybody likes it better when we're at school. But
Yeah.
you're able to do everything pretty much now? You kind of got the hang of the way it is a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. In math, I think you guys are starting to talk about prime and composite numbers, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell me the difference between a prime and composite number?
Prime is a number that can only be multiplied by 1, and composite is a number that can be multiplied by 2 or more.
Right, so something other than 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you head on over to the board, and you and Marylou are going to work on this just a little bit. So, Kassidy, go ahead, grab one of the markers, and on the board, kind of in the middle on the left-hand side, put a big P. And that's going to stand for prime. And on the other side of the board, put a big C, and that'll stand for composite. So you and Marylou right now, I'm going to give you girls about 3 minutes and just talk a little bit about the basics of prime and composite. All right? Go.
Okay, so let's start simple. Let's start with the numbers from actually 1 to 9. Okay? So let's write out the numbers up top. Write 1 to 9 for me.
On top?
Uh-huh.
1, 2.
Yep, keep right, yeah, 1, put 2, just write them in consecutive order. Okay, and we'll just stop right there, just 1 to 9. Then let's talk about these in regards to prime and composite, okay? Because these are the starting numbers, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm first going to start with the number 1. Do you think that's going to go in the prime family or the composite family?
Prime.
Okay. What equals 1 when we're multiplying? Just 1 times 1, huh?
Yeah.
Actually, 1 is the only number that is neither prime nor composite. And a lot of students forget that. They automatically think it's a prime number, but it's actually not. So 1 is a special number. So we're going to kind of put 1 over here. I'm going to throw 1 right here because 1 is neither prime nor composite. Now let's think of the number 2. Where do you think 2 goes? Which family? Prime family or composite family? Think of things that multiply equal 2. What numbers equal 2 when we're multiplying?
None, so prime.
It's a prime. Well, there is, which is what?
1 times 2.
Exactly. 2 is actually the only even number that is prime. So put a 2 around the P, okay? Or under the P if you want. We're going to make a list here. What about 3? Prime or composite?
Prime.
Perfect. Let's put it in the prime family. What about 4?
Composite.
Good job. And what about 5? Always think of what numbers, when we're multiplying, what factors equal 5?
This one.
You got it. We can only say 1 times 5, right?
Yeah.
What about 6?
Composite.
Okay. What about 7?
This.
Yep. And what about 8?
Composite.
Yep, you're correct.
I'm going to move that down
Okay.
a little for you, Kassidy, so you have
Thank
some more
you.
room to write.
And then
Yeah.
what about 9?
Composite.
It is. But what I want you to think about is, let's look first off at these numbers. What are those numbers? 4, 6, 8. What would you call those?
Fact. I don't know.
Are those even numbers?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember that fun thing, 2, 4, 6, 8? Who do we appreciate? Even numbers? Those
I've
are
never heard that
You
before.
never
2,
heard
4,
that?
6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Even
numbers.
I thought it was always the New York Yankees. Here we go. Oh, stop with the buzzer in the back. All right, ladies, nice work right
There you
there.
go.
Keep all of that up there because
Okay.
we're going to continue with prime and composite in just a few moments. But right now, time for today's Math in the News.
So I go back there.
And today's Math in the News, once again, we are fortunate enough to have somebody in studio with us. And today we have Katie Russell, the new superintendent for the Panama-Buena Vista Union School District. Katie, welcome to Do the Math.
Thank you. Glad
And
to be
also,
here.
welcome to Bakersfield and Kern County. So before we get started, where were you before you came to Bakersfield and Kern County?
I was in Fresno and I worked for Fresno Unified School District.
All right, you found Bakersfield much nicer in Kern County, so you decided to head a little south and visit with us for a while?
Exactly.
There you go.
I
Well,
love
we are certainly
Bakersfield.
glad to have you here. As the superintendent of a school district, you've got a lot on your plate right now. Every student is doing online learning to one degree or another. How do you see online learning remaining with us, or in what aspect do you see it? Do you think we're always going to have it, or do you think it's just going to be completely gone, or what do you think about online learning?
Yeah, I think online learning's here to stay. Of course, no one wants it to stay 100%. We all are in support. I think Kassidy even said, I want to be back at school. So we are in support of that. But distance learning has so many great things about it that we can learn from. How do we extend the classroom setting to a distance setting when either students are traveling somewhere, they could be sick at home, still go online as we get into the work. Kids doing experiences, they could do things online. So I think there are a lot of benefits, and our teachers in schools are learning a lot about distance learning to make it the best learning experience they
Yeah,
can.
we saw a little bit of footage about some of the students going up and being able to pick up those devices as well as lunches and things like that. And then how the students are actually doing Zoom, interactive lessons and things like that with the teachers. As well as the instructors, the students are going through this for the first time, and it's a lot to learn. But I think now that we are a few weeks into it, everybody's getting a little bit more adept at it, where they feel a little bit more comfortable doing it and can see some of the advantages of it, as you were talking about. Right. Sometimes if a student is absent from physical school, this is a way where they can always be able to kind of see what was going on and make up the work and, as if they were kind of there in the first place.
Right.
Well, we focus a lot on math, and we know that math is a big focus in all schools. We know that students sometimes learn better if they have something in their hands as far as a manipulative to work with, as far as understanding some math concepts. How does the district or certain schools work with students to kind of help bridge that gap?
So there are a couple of different ways. Depending on the teacher and the lesson, sometimes there are access, just like they were going to pick up their books or a laptop from school, there are opportunities for kids to pick up manipulatives. Okay. So if a teacher felt that the lesson needed that, they would inform the parents and people could come by and pick up the manipulatives. The second thing I'd say is we're learning more and more about the device of a laptop and Zoom and all the things that access through that technology. There are lots of different online manipulatives that kids can use to move things around and learn. And so we are continually teaching where those are available for the kids. And I would say the last is sometimes they're manipulatives right in your home. And so teachers can talk to the students and they'll ask them to run and go find something so that they can have something right there to work with.
Good. Well, you know what? I mean, because I think that's really important, because some students, they'll get it, when they can touch it and manipulate it and things like that a little bit more. Right. What would you like all students to know? Because you've got a lot on your plate, but sometimes you just want to let all the students know something from the district office as far as what you would like them to know. So is there something you would like all students to know?
I would, and I would say the number one thing is we love them all and we are thinking and caring about them every day. That has not changed just because they're at home. The second thing that I would say is teachers and staff are working really hard to try and make the best learning environment for them. I also think it's important, we've been working on connections and getting everybody online, and sometimes that connection drops. And I think kids feel very responsible and they're worried that they're going to get in trouble. They are not going to get in trouble. Just continue to try and log on. The teacher will continue to try and reach out. So never give up just because you suddenly dropped. You'll be able to get back on. And the last thing I would say is don't stop trying. We want you, we want your learning, we love you, don't forget that, and we can't wait to see you in person when that opportunity comes.
That brings me to my next point. So having students, what is the biggest advantage of having a student in class? Because I know that you're slowly starting to bring some students back as opposed to just online.
Yes, so we are starting with some small cohorts of students coming back, starting with our highest need special populations. So that is something that we're working on, we want to continue to improve upon. But I would say the number one thing is kids and adults actually need interaction. We're built for interaction, so that's the part we're looking forward to, is that kids and adults can be in space together. They can enjoy each other's company. They learn from each other. It isn't that you cannot learn from each other on Zoom, but there are different things that you can see at a quicker pace. I think teachers' ability to respond and help you in the moment, just like you're saying manipulatives, sometimes it is the manipulative, or it's taking their hand and helping them form a number if they're a preschool kid or a TK child. And so I think those are the things that are missing, and we're going to continue to try and get them back as quickly as possible. But in the meantime, I still want to reiterate all the different things we're trying to move into the distance world. So for example, even libraries, how do we get library books into the hands of students? We are working on that now. Librarians are setting up pages. Kids can now go into the library through the Zoom And now we're just about to start where they can actually go to the school during lunch pickup and actually pick up books to check out. So
Oh, good.
we are working on the different ways we can still have connections with kids, because that is very, very important that we continue to have those connections with our students and families.
Because I know with my students, they'll sometimes say, I'm sorry I got kicked off. It's not a problem, because I'm sorry, I get kicked off sometimes
That's
too. And I
right.
go, just wait for me, guys, I'll be right back. You know, hopefully it comes up quickly. But as you were saying, the interactions between the instructor and the students, because working with 6th grade students, I try to get, they kind of get the humor when I present some things, but it's a little bit easier when you're in class and everybody can see each other, and, you know,
Right.
mannerisms, body language, things like that as well.
Yes.
Well, I certainly do appreciate you coming in to visit us here at Do the Math, and thank you for your support. I know the Panama-Buena Vista Union School District has been a big supporter of Do the Math since our first year, 19 years ago. So you guys have been a part of the family ever since, so
That's
we
right.
certainly do appreciate
No, I'm
that.
glad to be here, and thank Kassidy behind me, because she is our model from our school district, and we're glad she could be on your show.
And we're glad to have Kassidy here. As a matter of fact, we're going to have Kassidy do a little bit more work, but that was today's Math in the News. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. All you have to do is give us a call if you'd like to see your problem worked out on air. Simply let the phone tutors know that, and we'll be more than happy to work that out. So, Kassidy, you ready to do some more work?
Yeah.
All right, this is actually one of the homework assignments that you have, so we'll go ahead and take a look at this on the board together. You had the numbers 1 through 9, just like you and Mary Lou were just doing, all right? And what they want you to do is they want you to use each one of the numbers to make 5 composite numbers, all right? So, Mary Lou, if you want to, you guys can work this out.
Okay, so
You know
let's-
what? You can get rid of the P and the, yeah, there we go. So let's go ahead and put up those boxes. So draw a square all the way over on the left. There you go. And then put a comma after the square. There you go. And now draw 2 more squares right next to each other. And after that, I would like you to draw another comma after the 2. There you go. Perfect. And draw 2 more squares. And let's start with that first. So you're going to find a composite number using the digits 1 through 9, and you can't use any of them more than once.
Okay, let me write these down for you. Okay, so does each box represent
A separate number.
a separate number? Okay, so using our numbers, we have only composite, we cannot do prime, okay? Think about what we did before. First box, which number would you like to put in there? Which one are your prime numbers again?
Prime number?
Yep, I'm sorry, composite number. So-
Sorry.
Hey, trying to trick her already, huh?
Ooh. Okay, 9. So we remember you can only use it once, so I'm going to put a little check at 9. So we've used 9. So now this is our next number. And again, we have to have a composite number. So 2 digits. 2 digits that form a composite number. What are you thinking?
I don't really know.
Okay, well, let's just start playing with numbers. Give me 2 numbers.
4 and 6.
4 and 6. Is 46 an even number?
Yeah.
Remember what we said about even numbers. Even numbers are always going to be what? Are they going to be composite?
Yeah.
Except for the number 2, remember? That was the only even number that's prime. So can you throw 46 up there? Okay, so we did the 4 and we've done the 6. So now you're left with the 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8 for our last set. What do you think? What's going through your head right now?
I'm trying to do 3 and 7 together.
Okay. 3 and 7. Was 7 a prime number?
Yeah.
It was. So think about 37. Does that sound like it's a prime number to you?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's pick something else.
Three and 8.
3 and 8. Okay. And why do you think that that's composite?
8 is composite, but 3 is not.
But you have the number 38. And what's that last digit again? What number? You said it's a 8. And 8 is a what?
Composite number?
It's a composite number. It's an even number, right? So therefore, 38 is going to be...
A composite number?
Yes, it is. Go ahead and put it in.
Now, because you girls are doing an excellent job on this, I've got an added bonus for you.
Okay.
Underneath the 38, Kassidy, draw 2 more squares. And you can only use the numbers that are left
All right.
and make another composite number.
So we have 3 and we have 8. So let's think about this. What are our numbers that are left, Kassidy?
1, 2, 5, and 7.
1, 2, 5, and 7. Okay. So,
And there are a variety of
Yes,
composite
there are.
numbers you can make.
yes, there are. There's a lot of composite numbers you can make from those numbers. So what are you thinking? What 2 numbers jump out at you automatically?
2 and 5.
2 and 5. Okay. Which makes the number
25.
25. What factors go into 25? What numbers make 25?
5 and 5.
5 times 5. So therefore, yes, is that a composite number?
Yeah.
There you go. Good job.
Oh.
So we know that any number that ends in an even number is going to be composite, except for the number, what? By itself, when 2 is by itself, right?
Yeah.
So any number that ends in an even number is going to be a composite number. Also, any number that ends in a 5. Okay, think of your 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, right? Because we know that 5 is going to be a factor of that number. There you go, just a couple little facts. to
And
help
let's
you
not
out.
forget 0.
And 0, I was going
Now,
to go there
0 by
too.
itself is a number, but it's not included in this list. But if a
No.
number ends in 0,
Yes,
it will also be composite.
yes it will.
All right, nicely done right there, Kassidy. Just getting the head start on prime and composite in 4th grade right there. For your excellent work so far today, you've got yourself a meal courtesy of our friends at Broken Yoke. So congratulations on that. A lovely little graphic that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Break one egg, get all those little chicks coming out of you. Hey, you know what? We've got some fun in studio coming up right after this.
Well, you know what? It's been certainly a long process to see everything happening from beginning to end, and now we're in one of the labs.
So what we're going to see here today is some of the products that are already out on the market. We'll taste some of the product and make sure that it's up to our quality standards.
All right, let's take a look at them.
All right. See, so we have our Haagen-Dazs chocolate here. It's just a plain flavor, no inclusions or variegates. That means no pieces or sauces in there. We'll show next is one of our new products, an artisan product. This one will have both inclusions and variegates in it. We'll also cut one of our drumsticks, our cones.
Really good.
Creamy
Yeah.
Creamy.
with an appropriate amount of fat.
Ah, there you go, perfect, appropriate amount. That's great. What we look for are things like iciness or grittiness. Those are quality defects in our finished product, and consumers don't like it, so that's what we watch for. So we'll move on and throw away our spoons there. We always get a new spoon. Okay, and this one you can see we have some pieces. So there are some pecan pieces there, and then there's some variegate that's swirled through. Now, did you get a pecan piece? There's a little bit of spice to it. You can pick up on that.
Smoky.
Smoky, yep. And that's a smoked caramel variegate in there, so that's where you're getting that smoke from. So we had our artisans come in and do some flavor work with us, and we try to recreate their products in our ice cream. So they oversee the whole process. Being in most of the artisans don't work in ice cream, and they don't use frozen products. The challenge for us is how do we deliver that same flavor profile, that same eating experience, but in a frozen ice cream product.
Right.
So that's where we use our history and expertise, but also just guess and test a lot of the times. We just do several iterations of it and say we like this one the best, and pick it and then try to refine it more and more. Let's try this one. Let's just grab these. These are our drumstick cones, and you see our signature nugget at the bottom here. It's all chocolate, the chocolate coating. So make sure you get one of those when you taste. So go ahead and grab a piece. Okay.
Well, I would say the crunchiness is something that you want to maintain once it's frozen, because it seems like there's got to be a little trick to that you guys have in order to keep that.
What we need to do is put a barrier between the dry cone and the ice cream. So the way that we do that is we have this chocolate coating on the inside of the cone, which is fat-based. So again, water doesn't like the fat, so that prevents us from getting those soggy cones.
So do people sign up to come and work in the lab as far as testing?
They go through a training process that could be weeks or months. We do it all the time with folks here, and we also send these products to various places all over the country and do the same.
All right. You don't want to let any of that go to waste. You want another sample?
I better eat some more, I think, yeah.
All right, well, this wraps up another segment of our looking at the sweeter side of science. Today we were at Nestle. And Kelsey, what was one of the best things about the tour today?
One of the surprising things was they have people test out their ice cream.
So you like that, where community members, professionals are getting trained to go and taste sample the varieties of Nestle products that they have. And we were fortunate enough to test some of the samples that are kind of exclusive right now and out on the market.
That's right, brand new products out on the market.
All right, well, you know what? We certainly had an enjoyable day. I know my belly enjoys that sample right there. And Jared, we certainly do appreciate everything that you've done for us.
Thanks for coming in, yeah.
Thanks for having us out for another look at the sweeter side of science. Right now, we've got a batch of candy ready to go.
Yeah, we made a batch of candy and peanut butter shoes.
I'll tell you, there's nothing like the sweeter side of science than being able to sample some of those goodies out there that we have an opportunity to do. Do remember we have phone tutors available today until 5:30. 636-4357 is the phone number. Toll free. That number's at the bottom of your screen periodically throughout the program. Maybe one of the only things better than the sweeter side of science is actually getting to do some science. And in studio right now, we've got Dave Hanley from the Buena Vista Museum. And time for our museum moment. Actually, we'll give him about 9 or 10 moments. And David, welcome to Do the Math again today. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. Always fun to be here. I'm here with Kassidy. She's 4th grade?
Yeah.
4th grade. And we love mathematics. I love mathematics. Well, okay. I teach my science teachers, or my teachers of science, that scientists don't just know. Scientists, their job is looking at the patterns of the universe. And there's no better way to describe the patterns of the universe than with the language of mathematics. That is the job of no matter what our subject matter is. What's the nature of a plant? What's the nature of a tree? What's the nature of the earth? What's the nature of an earthquake? It all has patterns, and they repeat, and they happen over and over again. And our tool is having little understandings about how that works. And so these are dice. Now there's a seven memorization. You have to memorize your sevens table. So 1 times 7 is
7.
Times 2.
14.
Times 3. And 21. Okay, so so one of the ways we can memorize is we get dice. Each dice has 7 on the top and the bottom. So if I roll 1 dice, the bottom is a
5. Wait. 2.
Okay, 2 plus 5 is
7.
all right. And I roll it again. Okay, I've got a 4, and what's on the bottom?
A 3.
Dead on. Yeah, there you go. Okay, and we roll it again, and what's on the bottom?
6.
There you go. You got that real quick. Okay, so it's good practice for lower grades. I know you're way advanced beyond this level. We can take it up and we go. Okay, so now we're going to have 2 dice. So now they're going to add up to 14, right? So if we've got 7 on the top, what's on the bottom?
7.
Ta-da! You're dead on. There you go. Your sevens table, it's a good way to... But I got to thinking about it, and there's this wonderful thing in science. It's important for safety. I want all my people to be safe, okay? And there's this thing, it's called acids and bases. Acids, you've heard of acids and bases?
No.
Can you think of an acid you've heard of?
Uh,
Ever eaten a lemon?
yeah. No.
And
not
it
really.
tasted
Bad.
sour?
Yeah, sorry.
Sour. So acids are sour. We got this thing in our mouth, it's called our tongue. It tastes. And if we put something sour in our mouth, it's an acid. And we put something bitter in our mouth, and it's a base. You ever put baking soda in your mouth?
No.
Ooh, you haven't put baking soda? Oh, I'm going to dare you to do just a little bit. I don't want you to get sick. But sometime your mom's going to be baking or dad's going to be baking, and there's going to be some baking soda. I want you to put a little in your mouth. It'll taste bitter. You never put lemon juice in your mouth? You haven't had anybody tell you to go suck on a lemon?
Well, I think I have.
Okay. Have you ever put vinegar in your mouth?
No.
Okay. Well, the reason I like 14 is that's the way we determine acids and bases. And acids chew things up. They corrode things up. And bases corrode things up, chew things up. But they do it on opposite ends of the chemical scale. Have you heard of what H2O is?
Water.
There we go. And what happens is we take water and we've got an H, we've got an O, and we've got an H. And when we split it down here, if it has a concentration of the H's, then we call that an acid. And if it's a concentration of the OH's, then we call that a base. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And we got scales. The more hydrogen it's got, the more it corrodes as an acid. And the more base it's hydroxide, we call that hydroxide. The more hydroxide it has, the more it corrodes things. And so we say the maximum scale goes from 1 to 14. You see where we're back to 14?
Yeah.
Okay. Now right here in the middle of that is 7. And if I take hydrogen and I mix it with hydroxide, what do I get?
It's 2.
Yeah, and that's water. And that just happens to be
7.
And the pH, we call this a pH, and we would call that 7. And that we call neutral. Have you done positive and negative numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have a 0, we have a -1 and a -2 and a -3 and a -4. And you have a +1 and a +2 and a +3. How do you get back to 0? If I have a -4, how do I get back to 0?
I don't know.
You add.
The numbers?
Which 4? Which number do I add?
The 4.
+4. And that will equal
4. I mean 8. Oh, what?
a -4 and a +4 balance out to 0, right? So if this is a base over here, and this is an acid over here, if I take a negative number and I add it to a positive number, I get right back to
7.
7, which is 0. So if you ever get an acid spilled on you and it's going to dissolve your skin, what do you want to put on it?
A base.
And if you get a base on your skin and you want to get it zeroed out,
H acid.
H or an acid, right.
All right, nicely done. Well, Dave, that is an excellent lesson to show the acids and bases and the numbers and how you can use positives and negatives to get back to that 0, that neutral of 7 also on the pH scale right there. So nicely done. Kassidy, nicely done also, and you learned a little bit about acids and bases, positives and negative numbers at the same time. That is today's Museum Moment with Dave Hanley right there. We'll be back with more right after this.
My kids and I are stuck at home too. We went out for a walk in the oak forest and we decided to bring our science journals. Here's one of my favorite ones. I've been journaling in this for quite a while. You can see it's pretty full. I also brought my new one and we're going to do some leaf rubbing. So we're going to show you how to do that, and hopefully you can find a good spot and find some leaves to do it at home too.
So here's Sophia. She's going to do our oak leaf here as well. She's got the leaf behind the page. She's using the side of her pencil, and she is finding the edge of that leaf and getting those details right there. So there she goes. So we're going to break it down into steps here. So first of all, find a nice clean empty page. Then you want to take your leaf. We're going to do it face side up first. We're going to stick it underneath the page and press the page down so that we can kind of feel where the leaf is at. Then we're going to take our crayon and find the edges of the leaf first. You can feel them, and you can also start to see the outline start to appear. And then once you get the edges done, you can start to fill in the center. And the harder you press, the better the details come out. Start lightly at first, and then if you feel you need more detail, just start to add a little pressure. So next we're going to flip over the leaf and put it under the page just like we did before. This side has a lot more pronounced veins on it, so the details will come out a little bit better. So press it down like you did before, and using the same technique, using the side of your crayon, go ahead and rub that leaf under your page until those details really start to come out. So next up, we're going to try using a pencil, a colored pencil at first, and we're going to use the back side of the leaf with those pronounced veins again, and we're going to start by putting the tip of our pencil down on the page and then moving it to the side. So using the side of the pencil so it doesn't dig into the paper. And then you start to rub just like you did with the crayon. Find those edges first and then continue to fill in the leaf. If you find yourself needing more control, find something solid to rest on like this big oak branch. And then if you need to do some touch-ups at the very end, you can start to tilt your pencil up a little bit to get into the little crevices that got missed by the pencil the first time. Next, we're going to use a regular number 2 pencil, and same thing as before, tilt it over to the side and use the side of the tip so you don't dig into the paper. So this is Johnny. He's using a number 2 pencil like I just showed you. And the great thing about the number 2 pencil is you can erase the outside part where you went over the edge of the leaf, and you can just have the shape of the leaf by itself on the page. Johnny's showing us how to do that right now. So I wanted to show you the leaf itself next to the rubbing here. And here's some examples from my old science journals.
So here's one that I did just for fun. Lots of different colors. I used a crayon for this one. You can see right here where the leaf moved underneath the page, and I got kind of a double image right there. So here's another one. This is one that I did when we were learning with students the difference between blackberry and poison oak. So we took a blackberry here and we made a rubbing of a blackberry leaf. You can see it's a little bit more scientific. We added the date here and the location, Hazard Canyon, and we added a lot more observations around the side that we made after we did the rubbing. So that was a little bit more information on that page. That's kind of cool.
I challenge you to go make some leaf rubbings. All you need is some leaves, some paper, and a pencil, and you're good to go. Let's do it.
Collection of leaves from the neighborhood and my backyard.
So I found a whole ton of paper here to practice on out of the recycling can. Awesome.
This Costco receipt is super thin paper, so you can really get the details through the paper really, really well. Here's the envelope from my credit card bill. Nobody likes these, but we've got to open it up first so we can have a single layer of paper. Let's try the front side of the leaf first. Dang it, my pencil broke. Oh no, it broke again. So the front side of the leaf is not coming out very well, so I'm going to flip the leaf over and see if we can get it to come out better the other side. Here's an old shopping list. Here's a scrunched up piece of paper that my kids threw away, and this is a kind of a tricky leaf, so let's see how it turns out. So get out there and find some leaves, make some rubbings, have fun.
And speaking of 6th grade, Camp Keep, a big part, so students will be learning about that also this year. It's time to get back to work. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, you head on over to the board with Mary Lou, and we're going to take a look at one of your homework problems right here. So it says there are 400 students at Park Elementary School. Park High has 4 times as many students. How many students in all attend both schools? So maybe you can just put E for elementary, and that has 400 students. And the high school, so you can put in H for high school, that has 4 times as many students. So maybe just write 4 times. Put a 4 and then write the word times. There you go. And now we want to know how many students there are all together at both schools. So if you would be so kind as to explain to Mary Lou how you would like to do this.
So I would put the 400, and then I would multiply it.
How do you know, Kassidy, to multiply? What clue told you, hey, that this is going to be a multiplication problem? Is there a word there that tells you? Look on the board. What did you write?
4 times?
Yeah, what does the word times mean?
Multiply?
Exactly. So does that tell you right there, hey, I got to multiply?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, walk me through it. Tell me what you're doing here with multiplication.
So 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 0 is 0, and 4 times 4 is 16. And my answer is 1,600.
Okay, but is that for all? Now, are we talking about both elementary and high school, or are we just talking high school?
High school.
Okay, so that's just the high school, right?
Yeah.
So we know that at the elementary, there's 400 students. Now at the high school, we know there's 1,600 students. But I think the question was, how many in all, high school and elementary? So what are we going to do now?
We're going to add these 2 numbers.
Okay, so let's add those 2 up.
Zero plus 0 is 0, another 0, 10, and then 2,000.
I love the way you lined up all your numbers. Very nicely done. So in all, what is our answer?
2,000.
Okay, so you got this multiplication down really well. However, you know that multiplication does mean repeated
Addition?
Yes. For students who are struggling with multiplication, is there a way we can still do the same problem without having to multiply by 4? How can we make this into groups? Let's think about this, okay? What would one group be considered?
400?
400, okay. So we have one group of 400, right?
Yeah.
So this is 4 times the elementary. So how many groups are we going to now have? If it's 4 times and one group is 400, how many
groups?
Yeah. So let's show that, Kassidy, okay? So how many more 400s do we need to write out?
4.
Okay. We need one more. Write one more for me, okay? Because we know that this group right here is the high school. And we know that this is the elementary. Now there's another quick way to do this. Instead of having to line these up vertically and go 400 plus 400 plus 400, what would another really quick way be? What do you think? What number do they all start with?
4.
4. Can you skip count by 4s?
4, 8, 12, 16.
16. Well, you got 4 of them, so we have 4,
8,
8,
12,
12,
16, and 20.
and 20. So we're going to write our 20. Oop, I added one more 0, right? And then they both end in how many zeros?
2.
So we're going to have that. Did we end up with the same answer?
Yeah.
We did. So you don't necessarily have to do multiplication if you struggle with it, right?
Yeah.
Another way we can do it is repeated addition. There you go.
And here's another shortcut. Why don't we do another shortcut, right?
Okay.
Kassidy, over on the side, keep going where you were, next to the 1600 plus 400. Write down 400 times 4 again.
Right here, Kassidy, right there.
Yeah, just write 400 times 4 again. Now don't even worry about the zeros. What is there besides zeros?
2 4s.
There's 2 4s. What's 4 times 4?
16.
Okay, so write 16 underneath it. And how many zeros are there all together up there?
2.
So write down the 2 zeros after it. That's the same thing, isn't it?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so little shortcuts will make life a little bit easier as you get older. Nicely done. You feel good about that problem?
Yeah.
Good. Erase the board. I've got a bonus one for you.
Okay, right. Do you see
Same
that
kind of problem.
right there, hit that. There you go.
All right, here we go. Lane High School has 5 times as many students as Park Elementary. So let's put Lane, okay, so Mary Lou's already got you. Lane is 5 times as many as Park. And we know that Park has 400. How many more students attend high school than Park? Well, hold on a second now. This question seems a little odd to me. Let's take a look at it together. Lane High School has 5 times as many students as Park Elementary.
Okay.
How many more students attend Lane High School than Park High School? So I think they may have misworded that a little bit there, where I think they wanted to put Park Elementary School. So we're going to go with that, all right? Because otherwise we've got 3 schools and we're not going to be able to do this.
Yeah, we have 3 different, so
All right.
we'll just go with Park as the elementary?
Right.
Okay.
So we'll do that.
Okay, Kassidy, walk me through this one. And think of those like little shortcuts we kind of talked about. So we need to find out, we need to find out first, what is the overall question is, how many more students go to Lane than Park, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Not
So-
how many, but how many more.
How many more? Okay, so what's the first thing that we have to figure out though?
How much Lane is?
Yep, okay. Figure that out for me. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Nicely done.
Yeah, using that trick already, huh?
Nicely done.
There you go.
Okay, so we know that we have 2,000 students at Lane, okay? And so we need to know how many more students are at Lane than at Park. So what's going to be the next step?
You subtract it.
Okay, what are we subtracting?
400 from 2,000.
Okay. Now, is there a quicker way you can think of how to do this? A quick subtraction method?
No.
Okay, okay, go ahead and solve it on the way you want to solve it. And what's our, how many more?
1,600.
1,600. Okay, so let's look at this real quick, okay? We have 2,000, and we are subtracting the 400, right?
Yeah.
We have these zeros here, okay? I'm going to take those out for a minute. What are we left with?
20.
20 minus?
4.
Mentally, let's think. 20 minus 4.
16.
And then could you have just brought those zeros back into it?
Yeah.
Because of all those zeros, that's a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
We can mentally see, we know there's going to be 2 zeros in the answer. So let's just go quickly to that one chunk that we need to look at. And then you wouldn't have to worry about your regrouping on that.
Shortcuts all around today. But now, young lady, time for your final problem of the day. Go ahead and erase the board.
Okay.
Have you ever had to mail something yet in your life?
Yeah.
You have. Okay, so it could have been a letter, a package, anything like that, right? So that's what the next problem has to do. Andre buys a stamp to mail a letter. The stamp costs 46 cents. Andre also mails a package. So you can put P for package. The package costs 5 times more than the stamp. How much does it cost to mail the package and the letter?
Oh, the package and the letter together. Okay, so now this is 46 cents. Have you dealt with decimals at all?
No.
Okay. How would you tackle this problem?
46 times 5.
Okay, let's start there. Go ahead and do that.
And you've got 2 minutes.
Okay, so we know that we have our 30, we carry our 3, we have 23. Awesome. But that would be $230, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That seems like a lot of money, doesn't it? For 5 stamps that are 46 cents each. However, when we write 46 cents, it's actually a decimal because it's not quite $1. So changes, you know, like a fraction, right? A decimal. So we actually would write it as 46 hundredths. How many decimal points, or how many numbers are behind the decimal point here?
2.
2. So we need to get that decimal point back in the answer. So let's start at the end here, because that's where our decimal normally is on a whole number. And we need to bring it back in. So Cassie, where do you think we're going to place that decimal back in?
Between the 2 and the 3.
Good. So what is that?
$2.30.
Awesome. Can you put a dollar sign there for me? So we know that the package is going to be $2.30. But we have the package and the stamp. How you lined up all those numbers perfectly when you were adding, we're going to do the same thing with decimals. Have you added decimals yet?
No.
Okay, we're going to line them up just like you did.
And you've got 20 seconds to complete it.
Okay, I'm going to line it up for you, and I want you to add these. Oop, that's a 6. I apologize. Add those up for us, just like you normally did. And bring your decimal point straight down. And there you go.
Nicely
How much is
done.
it going to cost?
$2.76.
$2.76. Great work, Kassidy. Did you have fun today?
Yeah.
Good. That's what we like to hear. And until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary STROOPE Family Foundation, Panama-Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, KERN High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.